For this problem, we are asked, is the following function one-to-one? And if so, find the inverse. So a function is one-to-one if it passes the horizontal line test. If it passes the horizontal line test, it means it has an inverse. So actually for this problem here, I left off a very important parameter here. So we're looking at the function when f of x is equal to 7x squared plus 5 when x is greater than or equal to 0. And that is actually a very important stipulation to this problem because, so let's pretend, for example, if I'm going to do a quick little sketch of 7x squared plus 5. If I do a quick sketch of 7x squared plus 5, it's going to look something like this. We're talking about a quadratic equation that has a vertex at a positive 5 here, and we know that it's positive, it's going to shoot up. Now, if I draw a horizontal line anywhere on this graph, it's going to cross not just once, but twice. The horizontal line test says if you draw a horizontal line anywhere on your graph, if it only intersects one time, then it is one-to-one. It has an inverse. But if it crosses at more than one point, then it is not one-to-one. An inverse does not exist. So most quadratic equations, whether they're positive or they're negative, are not one-to-one functions. They will not pass the horizontal line test, which is why it's very, very important that for this problem, they stipulated that x has to be greater than or equal to 0. What that tells us is that we are only looking at this graph when it is greater than 0. So to the right of 0 right over here, right? So we're going to start at 0 and go off. Now if this is the only portion of the graph we're looking at, this definitely is one-to-one. It definitely passes the horizontal line test. I can draw a horizontal line anywhere on here and it's only going to intersect once. So yes, this is one-to-one with a specific parameter that x could be greater than or less than 0. If we're just looking at a full quadratic, the answer would be no. You would move on. No, it's not one-to-one. No, it has no inverse. But as long as we're just looking at this portion of the graph, we're good to go. Once we know it's one-to-one, it's a 4-step process to find the inverse. Step 1, replace f of x with y. Step 2, interchange x and y. Y becomes x. This x becomes y. Step 3, solve for y. We're going to subtract 5 on each side to get x minus 5 is equal to 7y squared. Divide both sides by 7 to get y squared is equal to x minus 5 over 7. And then take the square root of each side. So we're left with y is equal to the square root of x minus 5 over 7. Last step, plug in your inverse notation for that y. Instead of y, we now just found our inverse, so we're going to get rid of y, put in the inverse function notation. Our inverse of this function is the square root of x minus 5 over 7.